Well, hi, this is Ira Gorlick, and this lecture is going to be on some terms that need a common definition. So the terms I'm going to go over in this lecture are commerce, wealth, and economics. So what is commerce? Well, for me, it's pretty simple. Commerce is the exchange of goods or services, stuff. And that exchange can be for bartering, for, one-for-one barter. It could be for money. But whatever it is, it's the exchange of goods or services. And it's important in this exchange of goods or services that values are assigned to those goods or services. One value is assigned by the person that has them. Another value is by the person that wants them. So if I have a sheep and you need a sheep, then we both place a value on it. If we can agree on the value, then we conduct a transaction. It's absolutely critical, and I can't say this strongly enough, that all values are relative to the context. So if I have a lot of sheep, then a particular sheep might lose some value. If I have no sheep, then that one sheep may gain in value. If I'm hungry, that sheep might gain in value versus I'm not hungry. You've all heard never go to a supermarket when you're hungry. So it's important to understand that all values are relative to the context. And you'll see throughout this whole class that context is very important in the way I view the world. Additionally, all values are ultimately set by the individuals. As much as the community or the government or the church would like to set a value, ultimately it comes down to what the individual places on that value. And so from a context standpoint, from a commerce standpoint, we have to understand that all commerce is context sensitive, and that I as an individual, since I'm setting the value, depending on how I feel on a particular day, on a particular subject, on a particular time, and a particular need, it's going to change the value. This isn't going to be as important to our discussion, but I thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd add it here, is that Buckminster Fuller came up with a great definition that I like. And Buckminster Fuller, he invented the geodesic dome. You might know him for buckyballs. He's a brilliant guy. And in his book, Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, he wrote that wealth is defined as the ability to control a forward number of days. So my favorite example of that, simple example, is that if you're on a life raft and you have water, that's more valuable than if you have gold. So even though gold inherently is more valuable than water, the context of where you're at is going to determine the value of something. And so wealth is determined by its context in terms of how many forward number of days you can control. So as much as commerce is context sensitive, wealth is context sensitive. Also, too, I think want to just merge the two and say that commerce is the redistribution of wealth. Most often in commerce, it's voluntary. I have a sheep, you want a sheep, we voluntarily exchange that good or service, and that's how wealth is redistributed. However, we know that sometimes it's not. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this particular class on net neutrality talking about it, but maybe in future classes I will. So what is economics? We often talk about the science of economics. Well, to me, economics is the science of commerce. And just for comparison, you look at physics, is the science of natural forces. In my humble opinion, in both physics and economics, the goal, the reason we spend so much time studying these things, is to be able to make predictions about the future to make life better. Now, in order to make these predictions about the future, you need to understand the natural laws that drive the thing you are predicting. And I think that's important. We're going to talk about natural laws a lot when we talk about legal aspects because of natural law and what that means. So we want to understand what the natural laws are of a thing. So let me give you some examples. We have a physics example, and here I show a dropping of a bomb. This is a classic physics example. If you want to drop a bomb, you want to know where it's going to land, you need to know the physical laws that would affect that. Things like gravity, inertia, wind resistance, velocity, all those kinds of things. And so we study physics in order to make predictions about the future. And not surprisingly, much of physics is driven through war and battle. Many of the great, like the atomic bomb, was a wartime activity. Well, an economics example might be what should be produced and how much to sell it at. I have an example here of a seller in the mountains of the Andes in Peru. And so this seller has to decide what are they going to sell and how much they're going to sell it at. The challenge we have in economics, of course, is that economics is less predictable than physics because humans are less predictable than the physical things that physics looks at. But of course, that doesn't stop economists from trying to find the laws of human behavior. So in the next lecture, I'm going to talk about the roles of the community's role in commerce, which is a very important topic since we're talking about net neutrality. And so hopefully the next definitions will be useful. Thank you.